full transparency, we are live on both TikTok down here and on YouTube. So if you miss anything on TikTok, you can skedaddle over to YouTube. Hey, and get all caught up. There is a lot, and I mean a lot, going on today, per usual. Um, so let's jump right on into it. Now, ironically enough, the ambassador for China was confirmed today. It is David Perdue. Boy, does he have an uphill battle for him. And on the heels of him being confirmed as the ambassador to China, coming from CNN, we have China sends a stern video message to Trump. We won't kneel down. Trump needs to stop playing with China. First of all, China can fight. We can't. We also owe China money. China is our Debo. Okay? And we are not Ice Cube. Hey. So let's get into it. In a sharp rebuke of President Donald Trump's trade war, China's foreign ministry posted to social media a striking video that calls on the international community to stand up to America's bully leader. You know, it is not good to try to pick a fight with a nation that is your elder. Okay, they have 5,000 years of how to do this shit. We're a teenager compared to everybody else. Bowing to a bully is like drinking poison to quench thirst. It only deepens the crisis, China said in its video, narrated in English and subtitled in Chinese. Oh, they wanted us to catch this message. Oh, this ain't even a sub. This is direct. History has proven compromise won't earn you mercy. Kneeling only invites more bullying. China won't kneel down. They're not wrong. They are not wrong. The video narrates a history lesson of what China considers American economic aggression, forcing companies like Toshiba and Alstom into breakup, financial crisis, and bankruptcy, and sending Japan's economy into decades of anemic growth. Once again, they're not wrong. By contrast, China portrayed itself as a free trade haven with which other countries can safely invest and partner. China will stand firm no matter how hard the wind blows, China said in the video. Someone has to step forward, torch in hand. Ooh, the visual, the shade. Torch in hand to shadow the fog and illuminate the path ahead. I told y'all when Trump first started with China, China has the ability to remove us from the global market. Trump is already removing us from the ability to engage in emerging markets around the world. And Trump has never learned. So this is when we were telling y'all he was not attending classes or doing any of his work. And this is why the Wharton School of Business wrote a letter when he was in the office the first time, like, don't put that shit on him. And Trump, stop telling people you went here. Your daddy paid tuition. That's it. That he does not understand anything that's going on. He doesn't. He is destroying everything, acting as if the United States has been taken advantage of. How is the United States being taken advantage of when for so long other people have footed the bill for our debts? And I know people are talking about, well, he said that during the G6, everybody else and in NATO, everybody else wasn't put. Let's really look at the numbers. Let's look at how many times other countries have bailed the United States out. Let's look at what the United States does to other people's governments, and we haven't been forced to pay for it. The one who is the bully, the one who is taking advantage of everybody is us. Like, what did you really expect from a country that was stolen and drenched in the blood of who they stole from and who they stole? Euro Americans came over here, and it wasn't even the best of them, okay? It was the tyrannical one that didn't want to follow the rules and were too mediocre to even make anything of themselves in a society that was already based upon their mediocrity to be a commodity. They came over here and was like, whoopsie doodle, we cannot keep ourselves alive. And they have been trying to force the rest of us to keep them alive ever since. If you don't like what I'm saying, then you don't like the truth. Get out your feelings. It is what it is. And now you have the ultimate by force Nepo baby who has never by merit earned anything. Talking about somebody being taken advantage of. He knows how to try to bully people and try to take advantage of them. Trump is trying to run the government as if it is the Trump organization and as if every other country are those mom and pop smaller businesses that he's run to the ground or run out of business. We know that Trump has a long history of hiring migrant workers and then refusing to pay them by trying to get them booted out the country. This is how he's trying to run the country. But here's the thing, he's not getting the services first. Let me repeat that for y'all. He's not getting the services first. He's not getting the tax money first. Like, how do y'all sit here and say that he's such a great businessman when for the vast majority of your lifetime, he has been the butt of jokes because of his bankruptcies, because of his failed businesses, because of his fraud towards failed nonprofits? This is a man who could not sustain casinos. He bankrupted the city of Atlantic City. Not just that he bankrupted his own companies, he bankrupted a city. He could not sell water. He couldn't sell water. And for all the Trump-la-fucks that are like, well, I've been a fan of his since way back then why weren't you buying his magazine? Why didn't you buy his steaks? Why didn't you buy his game? Why didn't you buy any of his books? Because y'all only know about one. He has multiple. He's paid multiple ghostwriters. It's not so much the U.S. that needs to be told to kick rocks. It's specifically the Trump administration and all of the racists within the borders of this nation. Because it is the racists that are the most hypocritical. They need the workforce that is melanated, but will do everything to disparage said workforce. They also need the consumers that are melanated, but will do everything to make it impossible for said consumer base to consume. And then sit back and bitch and complain that their businesses are going out of business. It's like having it's let me put it to you like this. It's like the bakers who specialize in the niche of specifically wedding events and everything going around a wedding. That are like, no, I don't want to service them and I don't want to service this. You already cut out a large part of the population from being able to be your consumer base. And then you want to whittle it down even more and think that you're going to sustain yourself. That's essentially what racists within this country does. It's the Euro-American way. Okay, you're not listening. Okay, it's beyond just the federal government. It is the racist, white-bodied individuals within this country. Because it's not just the government. The government will do what the people allow them to do, whether you turn over your power or you vote the power in. Because we already went through how the United States has consistently destabilized governments, how the United States has gotten other people to pay for our fuck ups and our mistakes and bail us out. We did that. We did that. Now we know Trump is rounding out his first 100 days in office. And for everybody, when he first got elected, and they're like, oh, it's going to be even worse because he learned from his last presidency. I keep telling y'all, you are giving this man too much credit. You're doing what the other side did with Biden. Oh, he's Sleepy Joe. Oh, he's the crime boss. Oh, he can't make a cohesive sentence. Oh, he's the most prolific. No, Trump is not that smart. Stop giving him credit for things. Trump did not learn anything from the last presidency that he had. He hasn't. It's been evident all along because Trump only ran to avoid prison. This is why all of the court cases surrounding Trump was to avoid prison time. And this is why this time around, his approval ratings are even worse. They have been tanking all weekend, yesterday, and even today. I like to practice. But yeah, Trump, he didn't learn anything. Okay. And right now he's surrounded by people who did learn from his first presidency. And what did they learn? His ego is never going to let him not take credit for things and not appear to be in the know. So there are multiple power grabs going on at one time, and he really thinks that he's in control. But let's get into it. Coming from Politico, the most consequential, damaging, head-scratching things Trump did in his first 100 days. Let's face it, no one in politics today has lived through a first 100 days like the one Donald Trump just dropped on the country. Even the very first president didn't do shit this fucked up, and he didn't even have a blueprint to really follow. You have to go back to the Truman administration to find a president who signed more than 100 executive orders in a year. Trump blew by the mark in just over 3 months, and even that doesn't quite capture the sense-numbing effect of a president bent on upending every facet of American government as it has been practiced over the past half century or more. But here's the thing. I don't really freak out about all the executive orders that Trump is signing because I understand what an executive order is, and it's not codified into law. It is not something that's like, it's basically a permission slip. But there's no plan of action behind it. You hear about all these executive orders and then you don't hear about them again. Like the day that they're signed, a few days after that, there's a bunch of hot takes on them. And then you don't hear about them again because there's no infrastructure to do it. They're depleting the workforce. So who's going to implement them? There's no plan behind it. There's no budget behind it. A lot of these things take money. And Congress is like, no. Even GOP members of Congress are like, what's going on here? So he can sign anything that he wants. I can sit here and take blank sheets of paper and sign my signature to it and be like, yeah, they're going to come and get these autographs. Doesn't mean that somebody's going to come pick them up. Doesn't mean anybody's going to pay for them. He's doing all of these things and they're so vague that there's a lot of, okay, we're going to implement this. Oh, we got to roll it back. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, we're getting sued over that. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, the court said no. They're not going anywhere. We thought that our last Congress was horrible, and it was because they accomplished virtually nothing but a few CRs. This full administration is worse than our last Congress. It's not getting anything done. They've outspent the last administration in 3 months, while supposedly cutting people and cutting budgets. Unraveling security alliances and ripping up trade agreements, disregarding congressional prerogatives, and dismissing judicial oversight, renaming large bodies of water that don't entirely belong to us and mountains that do, not to mention an unapologetic deportation program that has detained and dispatched hundreds of people, some of them U.S. citizens, including to prisons here and abroad. Trump has made keeping up with the news hard and keeping things in perspective even harder. And here's the thing. There are people on all sides of all of these aisles, because I know we like to say that we're in a two-party system. We're not. And I need y'all to let go of that myth and that lie that we tell one another. You are accustomed to having pejoratively two parties to choose from when it comes to the federal government. But look down ballot and stop just showing up to vote for the race to POTUS Mountain. You want things established, you got to vote every time that there's an ability to vote. You want to get out of the federal two-party system, vote. And not just during the race for POTUS Mountain. But I digress. Like I said, on all sides of the political spectrum, you have people taking the vagueness and the craziness and putting their own spin on it. Like everything is not fucking breaking news. It's not. It's not. And all this, I'll give you a breakdown here. A breakdown of what? Reading you the rest of the article. You can give a breakdown right then and there. Give the people all the information then. You have people that appear to be independent giving you the truth where they're not. There's fear mongering and bullshit on all sides. This is why I encourage you to learn how shit works. Even if it's just the Cliff Note version for right now, because I understand things are happening so quickly, you don't really have the time or the bandwidth to get in depth with it, but at least know the basics. So, to help put all of the unprecedentedness into context, we brought together a roundtable of Politico's newsroom experts. The discussion featured Megan Messerly, White House reporter, Tessa Berenson Rogers, senior news editor, Ankush Kardori, my apologies for any mispronunciations, senior writer and author of the Rules of Law column, Camille Jids. I know how that sounds, but we're just going to go past that. Trade reporter in Politico's Brussels bureau, and Zach Stanton, deputy editor of Politico Playbook. Now, before we get into this, I want you to keep in mind, Trump does not know what's going on. Trump is sending us into a turmoil. And before you go, well, he must be doing something right if people aren't honing him in. They're not fucking paying any attention to him. Okay, they are letting grandpa do what grandpa wants to do. He can color on the fucking walls for all they care. They just don't want to be tasked with keeping an eye on him, and they have their own power grabs to take care of. And we're watching one failed power grab play out as far as the Pentagon. Pete Hegseth, those people that he's going so hard against, the leakers, they were good friends of his, former advisors and associates of his for decades. And they're the ones that are like, this motherfucker's dumber than I thought. This is what he's doing, y'all, because they didn't come in to be loyal to him or to Trump. They came in to gain their own power, just like Hegseth wanted that so bad. He wanted to gain power and prestige, and it's not happening. Tom Homan, power, prestige, and to get his rocks off, because his goal is to deport 1 million people. Keep in mind, I keep saying 1 million people because that's what he said. He didn't say 1 million undocumented individuals. He didn't say 1 million criminals. He said 1 million people. And it's very arbitrary. Anybody he thinks would pose a threat to pushing back on him, regardless of what you look like, and people who don't have the right look. And remember, when Trump was talking about how he chose his cabinet and all of his advisors, he was talking about having the right look. Let's also not play stupid and forget that Trump likes Mein Kampf and said that he has good genes because he has German genes. Let us not forget that the Trump family has a long-standing history of being anti-military, minus Trump's kids and his brother. Trump's family got expatriated out of Germany because they were dodging drafts and skipping back and forth illegally between the United States and Germany. That's why they changed their last name from Trump. And I also want y'all to keep that in mind. If you're going to have a problem with more recent immigrants that are keeping their names because they have nothing to hide, I need y'all to go ask your grandma and granddaddy why y'all not underneath y'all original last names. Watch them sweat. And then take all your little detective skills and look up your original last name and see what heinousness is attached to it. We discussed some of the biggest surprises of Trump's new term, the actions that will truly have long-term impact, some things his opponents secretly agree with, and the big thing that might be coming in the next 100 days. What could they be secretly agreeing with? I can't say that on here. The conversation has been lightly edited for clarity. The question might be the hardest of the bunch. What is the single most consequential action Trump has taken? And Cardori, the tariffs. Messerly, I have two answers here. I'd say either establishing Doge. Doge was not established. Let me stick a pin in this real quick. Doge was not established. This was an agency that had been around at least since the Obama administration. It was rebranded and renamed. And the whole Doge thing, yeah, it's a great acronym, but Doge is also a cryptocurrency that Elon Musk is trying to get off the ground, allegedly. And the massive dismantling and overhaul of the federal government. There was no overhaul of the federal government. It was just dismantled. full stop. Or the massive reshaping of the global trade order that we're seeing right now with the imposition of these reciprocal tariffs. They're not reciprocal tariffs. Reciprocal tariff, there's nothing to reciprocate. We did this. We started it. Let's say things the way that they are. We're not reshaping shit. We're fucking shit up. Well, Trump is fucking shit up. This isn't reciprocal. If I come up and punch you, that's not a reciprocal punch. If you punch me after I punch you, that's reciprocal. Let's label things correctly. Let's stop lessening the blow when it comes to accountability. Whether you like a person or not, y'all have an unhealthy attachment to trying to lessen the blow for white folks. I don't care how you are. I don't care how militant you are. That indoctrination is still there. Work on it. Get vaccinated against it. Okay? Okay. Even though he's paused some of those tariffs for 90 days, some of them he keeps pausing them for 90 days or indefinitely. I think we're still going to see a dramatic restructuring of U.S. trading relationships. And that speaks broadly to how the president is repositioning the U.S. with regard to its European allies and reshaping the global world order. He wants to be butt buddies with dictators. And he thinks that by showing that he's so strong and all this other shit, all of this posturing is to try to look good to dictators because he acts like there's a country club of fucking dictators that he can get into. And then he's just going to have this overwhelming power and everybody's just going to bow to him. I'm pretty sure if any of us sneeze too hard near him, he's going to implode. Now, Camille says, tariffs for sure. It's sending shockwaves across the world and is staggering the European Union, amongst others, to look for new partnerships. It's also pushing those economies to retaliate and to move toward block-based trading spheres. I'm going to pause this because let's not forget, right after Trump was elected, even well before his inauguration, there was already talk around the globe that world leaders were preparing for a second Trump administration. They have all learned. This is why on the continent of Asia, there's some countries that ain't fucked with each other in a while. That they have been, it's on site for a while with each other. They're like, let's sit down and let's, we had this little trade agreement going on a couple thousand years ago. And we said, a couple decades ago that we would let's revisit it now. Why do you think all these countries are able to switch as quickly as they can? I need people to put things in perspective and stop treating real life as if it's a sitcom or a Hallmark, a Lifetime fucking movie. They were already prepared for these things. You can't, just because Trump said it doesn't mean, oh yeah, look, we already got the land and the contracts and everything else. We're just going to drop manufacturing right here. And oh yeah, we're just going to start buying from this place. This shit has been in the works. Contract negotiations is not a quick thing. Figuring out logistics is not a quick thing. Having budgets ready to go did not just happen over the weekend. Now, that's on the government level because two things can be true at one time. That's on the government level. Now, the individual business person, hey, some people decided, I'm just going to pray it away. Other people like, no, he wouldn't do this, or I voted for him, I'm going to be protected. Or even though I don't live in the United States, I'm a Trump supporter. My country is going to do whatever Trump says. And because everything that Trump is implementing hurts the United States. It really does not hurt the other countries. If you really want to look at it, it doesn't really hurt the other countries. It's frustrating to them, but every bit of it hurts the United States and the people within the confines of the United States. He is vastly shrinking the economy. That is the most catastrophic thing. And it's not just one thing that he's doing to shrink it. Getting rid of workforce, getting rid of consumers is shrinking our economy, making things more difficult in regards to union workers, establishing unions, having people join unions, taking away collective bargaining for certain sectors. Of course, the tariffs and the the instability of the tariffs. He's treating tariffs like he can't figure out if he wants to join in double dutch or not, because he's like, yeah, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm not, I'm ready, I'm not. Like, what? That's like me saying, hey, I promise you I will give you $500 a month to help out with your bills. Then the day before I'm supposed to give you the $500, oh, we're gonna push that back by 90 days. We'll do that in 90 days. Then at day 87, you know what? Since you so nice, I'm gonna give you $1,200 to help out with your bills. Then 2 days later, we're gonna push that back 90 days. Like, how are you supposed to establish a budget that you can rely on? Is it clicking yet? And as they're going through, oh, his most consequential, the fact that he is showing the world what I've said for years, that the United States never wanted to join the Allied forces against the Axis in World War II, is what Trump is showing. That is the most consequential. Because now everybody is second guessing, and now everybody, as long as he and anyone that's close to him right now is in any amount of power, they're going to be second guessing us and not trusting anything. Although they were already having their antennas up and the spidey senses were tinkling regarding us. But he has pulled out the Henry Ford and the Mustache Man's playbook after Henry Ford handed it over to the Mustache Man anyway. That failed artist who convinced people of a eugenics standard that he did not meet himself. I want y'all to keep that in mind. You're sitting here wondering why certain people are following Trump and going along with Trump and making excuses for Trump and lying for Trump. The failed German artist convinced people of a eugenics standard for Anglo-Saxons that he did not fit. And there were other people who did not fit that either, that were like, yeah, that makes you real white. That makes you a real whitey McWhite. Because it's not about whether or not they fit the criteria. It's a matter of they're making sure you don't. It's a matter of them getting what they feel entitled to. If they feel like you got rich and they didn't, and they feel like, oh, because of your gender, your sexual orientation, the skin that you're encapsulated in, that no, he's a full-on artiste. He just failed at it. If they feel that they're entitled to it, yeah. Why do you think that they took the riches of the Jewish people? And let me explain something to y'all. I know that in your mind, when you think of a Jewish person, you think of a white person. When you think of the Holocaust, you think of a bunch of white people being hauled off to places. That's intentional. Propaganda runs deep. And no, this is not anti-Semitic. This is anti-Zionist, what I'm about to bring to you. And it's anti-fake history. Okay? Gay people were not liked, but they were used by that regime. If the eugenics standard was blonde-haired, blue eyes, and pale skin, who else do you think was carted away and stolen from? And this is why they took the paintings, the bank accounts, and everything else of these people and hoarded them, because they felt, because of their birthright, because of their skin color, and that's what they believe that their birthright comes from, the skin that they're encapsulated in, that they were owed it. That is the most consequential thing. And all of these people who spent all this time, well, my grandfather fought the fascist, and yeah, they love the admiration in public, but what they were teaching their children is very clear now. And all those people that were like, yeah, I would have never gave up Anne Frank, you would have never hid Anne Frank. You may not have given her up with her family, but you would not have given her shelter. You may not have called in the tip, you may have written it in. And it shows. And that's the thing. The United States took some strides forward. And people are like, oh, they're rolling back legislation. They never upheld the legislation for the people that the legislation was intended for. They upheld that legislation for white women. Let me repeat that. They never upheld the legislation for the people that it was intended for. They upheld the legislation for white women, because there's always a white woman lurking to slip into a movement and shift the focus onto her and her kindred. So that's not a loss to anybody. We're accustomed to living without security and safety. We figured out how to protect ourselves and take care of our own. But it's the fact that the United States keeps marketing itself a certain way, believing that it's a certain way, and it's not. Whew. Now, with that, I am going to end things here. Do not forget that tonight on the Tube Review, Conversations with Taz, we will be getting more in depth into other things that have occurred in the news. It's just a lot going on today, so I wanted to cut down so I wouldn't have like a 3-hour show. And do not forget to subscribe to my Substack. And there is a new blog up, Camp Taz, links in my bio, that goes a little bit more in depth regarding what we were just talking about, with links to additional information. So as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. Now go out and get into some good trouble. Bye, y'all.